Hello, everybody. Bienvenue and welcome to McGill University and our admissions webcast. We are excited to be with you this evening. My name is Leanna Dumond, and I'm one of the admission and recruitment officers here at McGill. And I'm joined today by two of our wonderful students who are going to share some of their experiences with you about McGill as well. Evan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Evan. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I just finished my second year here and I'm studying arts geography.
Hi, my name is Per. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba. I just finished my fourth year here, so I'm graduating from the Interfaculty Program in Environment.
Congratulations. Pretty excited to be graduating, I think.
Yeah.
Good. Do you guys want to share any experiences on why you chose McGill and what made you first consider McGill to apply to?
Sure. I initially picked McGill because I really like foreign languages and I was really intrigued by the international student population here. And being here has really lived up to that because you meet people from all over the place and get these really, really cool perspectives. So, yeah.
I didn't realize actually coming in how much of an international population there was in McGill. That was a huge plus. I really like that, but I was drawn to the fact that it was in the middle of a city. It's bigger than the city that I came from, and it had a good reputation, and all those factors came together to affect my decision.
Great. Great. So we're going to hear a lot more from Per and Evan as we go through our presentation, but here's a little bit of what we're going to talk to you about today. So Montreal, which is where we're located, and our two campuses, we'll talk about the student experience more and hear some stories from Per and Evan. We're going to talk about academics and how you choose your program to study at McGill. As well, of course, very important, I know many of you are concerned and a lot of stress right now surrounding the application and admission process. So we'll definitely talk about that and finish with a little bit of information about costs and scholarship opportunities. We will have time throughout for questions, so Evan and Per are actually going to help me by monitoring the questions offline on the screen, and then we'll take some time throughout to address your questions. So if you have any as we go along, just feel free to type those into the question box you have there, and we'll be sure and answer them for you. Okay? So to get started, I'm going to invite you guys to watch the computer on the side here. I'm going to talk a little bit about McGill, and many of you are probably already aware that McGill is very well known internationally for our excellent reputation in academics and excellence. We are a research-intensive university, and something that we're very proud of. It's definitely part of the McGill experience, whether you're an undergraduate, graduate, or doctoral student. Definitely one of the highlights, as you've already heard, of the McGill experiences are diversity, and that currently we have 150 countries represented in our student body. That makes up about 20% of our total students. Our campus size is about 39,000 students total, with 25,000 of those being our undergraduate student population. So definitely have students coming to us from all over the world, all across Canada, all across the US. I know we have many Americans in the audience today. So that's something where you won't be alone if you're looking at leaving home to come to McGill. Rest assured that the majority of our students are actually in that situation. And something you may not be thinking about yet, but is certainly a big part of the McGill experience, is the network that you're going to be a part of when you graduate. We have over 215,000 alumni currently in 180 countries. So right now I know your focus is on where to apply and what do I need to do to get into college or university. And as excited as we are to have you at McGill, ultimately our goal is to get you to graduate and go on to exciting careers and be part of our global alumni network. So I'd like to talk a little bit about Canada. I know for some of you, maybe you haven't had a chance even to visit Canada yet, and we certainly hope that you will. We are on the eastern part of the country, so we are in the province of Quebec, located in the city of Montreal. Montreal is actually just about 45 minutes from the borders of both Vermont and New York State, so really close to our neighbors to the south. Definitely in a great place with a lot of history of North American history. Canada is ranked as one of the best places to live in the world, and it's currently ranks in the top 10 places to live by the UN and The Economist. It's also a very welcoming country for international students. So for those of you who are coming to us from outside of Canada, know that there's some wonderful opportunities to be a work-study student, to work on or off campus as an international student, and also once you graduate, you have the option to apply for a 3-year work permit, which would allow you to stay in Canada for 3 years working. So definitely being in Montreal is certainly one of the highlights of the McGill experience. This is a wonderful city to visit. We're the second largest city in Canada. It is very multicultural and multilingual. Although French and English are the majority languages you're going to hear around the streets of Montreal and in our community, do know that you don't have to speak French to be a student at McGill or to live in Montreal, but you're going to hear many languages going around, being such a multicultural city. We're actually home to one of the largest student populations on the continent. We have over 300,000 college and university level students here in the city. And Montreal was recently ranked as the #1 city in the world by international students as cities to live in. And so it definitely says a lot about the life in Montreal. It's a very vibrant city. It's a city of festivals. There's so much going on here year round. It's a very safe city and a very affordable cost of living. You'll see here in this picture at the bottom of your screen, it's a nice shot from Mount Royal. We have a lookout there on this mountain in the middle of the island of Montreal. And that's looking right down on our campus. So the arrow there points out to you the setting of our downtown campus, right in the heart of the city of Montreal. So one of the highlights of being our downtown campus is that location, right downtown Montreal. Although it is an urban campus, you're going to see that it's a green campus. It's a pedestrian-only campus, so you do have that traditional campus feel while being in the heart of the city. This aerial shot here gives you a better sense of the space. You see behind us is Mount Royal, and up there on the left is where that lookout is that took that aerial shot that you saw on the previous slides. So you see here, our campus was actually founded almost 200 years ago, and at that time the city of Montreal was a lot smaller, and the city really grew up around our campus. So that's how we have this traditional campus setting right in the heart of the city. Now I'm referring to this campus as our downtown campus. That's because we have 2 campuses at McGill. Our second campus is our world-renowned Faculty of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences. That's the McDonald campus. What you're going to find here is a pretty different campus setting than the one downtown, but they're only 30 minutes apart and they are connected by a shuttle. This campus here is where you're going to find all of our students studying in the programs within the Faculty of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences. That's going to include the McGill School of the Environment and the School of Dietetics and Human Nutrition. So for students looking for careers in environmental protection, food sciences, bioresource engineering, and many other degree programs you're going to find on this campus. It is a smaller campus in population. There's 2,000 students on the MAC campus, but we actually have over 1,600 acres of land. So many hands-on learning opportunities, a lot of research here, labs and facilities that students can take advantage of. Now, no matter what your study at McGill, there's going to be many ways that you're going to get involved and be able to take advantage of all of our services and opportunities on campus. I want to invite Per and Evan back over to talk to you a little bit about all of the student activities you can get involved in.
So there are a lot of ways to get involved on campus here at McGill outside the classroom. Something I'm going to touch on, it has been my intramurals experience. So it's really easy to join a team if you don't want to do a varsity team here at McGill, which is also an option if that speaks to you. So I've done ultimate frisbee, soccer, volleyball. I have friends who've done inner tube water polo. Virtually any sport you want to do, whether it's with drop-in hours or if you want to organize a team to compete in a league, you can do that as well. And it's been a really cool opportunity for me and an awesome way to meet some new friends and get some teams together of people I've known, or just join random teams because I've wanted to play. So really good outlet here at McGill.
Aside from intramural sports, McGill has tons of other student-run clubs and activities. At the beginning of the year, there's an activities night where all the student-run clubs and activities come and set up tables so new students or old students can walk around and see what the different clubs and activities there are. Student clubs can range from everything from the Chinese Students Association to a club of people, a salsa dancing club, to a cooking club or a dietary restrictions club, and then services range from students who will take notes in classes and then sell them to other students, or students who will volunteer to walk others home from the library late at night who might not feel comfortable alone. I was involved with a campus club called Best Buddies, which sets up students with adults in the community who have intellectual disabilities. So I met with my buddy every 2 weeks or so, and we just hung out. It fosters one-on-one friendships and encourages integration with the Montreal community. So there's really all sorts of things that can appeal to any interests. And that can be found at activities night, which will be at the beginning of the year. There's usually 2 nights, and students can come. It's very popular. There's usually a lineup out the door, and all the clubs and services will set up a table so you can get to know what McGill has to offer. Also, we wanted to talk a little bit about housing. At McGill, all first-year students are guaranteed a spot in res. So that is a big part of the first-year experience. There are 3 different styles of residences at McGill. You have hotel-style residences, dorm-style residences, and apartment-style residences. The hotel-style residences are essentially renovated hotels, so they're mostly a room with either 2 double or 2 queen-size beds and then a shared bathroom. So in the hotel-style residences, students do tend to have a roommate in the same room as them, and then they share a private bathroom with that student. And then in the dormitory-style residences, students will usually have a single room and then a communal bathroom, which is much more of the older classic dormitory style. You also have apartment-style residences, which will be a bunch of different students either living in a house or an apartment, and then a communal kitchen and common area. So each different type of residence can appeal to different types of students. Some students who might feel they want to be more independent might opt for the apartment style residence. Some students who might feel they want more of the classic experience might opt for the dorm style. And the hotel style is very comfortable and very appealing to many students as well because the buildings are really nice.
A wonderful thing about McGill is the meal plan options. It's a good system because it's a paper item instead of a swipe once and eat all you can. Because who wants to pay like $15 for a bowl of cereal in the morning? So it works out really conveniently. There are 5 major dining halls in the residences, so basically you have food at your fingertips whenever you want it, and there are vegetarian options. We have something called Meatless Mondays, so that there are subsidies for students who decide to go vegetarian, which is really cool. Another thing that a lot of people look forward to are the local food days on campus. So the McGill Food and Dining Service has made a really good effort to source some of our food products from our McDonald campus. So we always have Mac apples, we have local cheese and dairy products, which is really good. My favorite thing I've seen the local food day has been a maple fountain, which I don't think you will find anywhere else. So a 5-tiered maple fountain changed my life. So dining here on campus has been really nice, and you have your home base, which are any of the res cafeterias, and then on campus, if you want to grab coffee while you're studying late at night, or you're hungry and want to get lunch on campus, there are also flex dollar options, which is included in the plan as well.
Another major part of first year living is life in res. I came not knowing a single person, and I immediately felt very comfortable just because of the system that McGill has makes students feel very welcome. Each residence will have a floor fellow on each floor, which is the equivalent to resident advisors, which is an upper year student who takes on kind of a mentorship position. So if you have any questions, there's someone who's taken classes at McGill before, and they can help you if you have any issues. Students who want to get involved can get involved in the council of their res, so they can plan events for their specific residence hall, for other students, and the residences just generally foster a community setting, so it's a great way to meet people who are outside of your program from different places in the world, first-year students at McGill studying all sorts of different things.
Res is only 1 year here at McGill, so you're here for your first year. It's an amazing experience, and a lot of people are sad to leave it, but moving off campus is one of the best things that will ever happen to you. Montreal is an amazing city and has really affordable housing options. I'm from Boston, where you spend so much money on housing, and Montreal is a very affordable city, and living in such a vibrant atmosphere with something always happening is really good. So once you move off campus, there's so many options for living. There's an off-campus housing office to help you find an apartment or advice with landlords and stuff like that. But the off-campus culture here is really awesome, and don't let that dissuade you if you want to live in res for 4 years.
And we have off-campus fellows as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right, there are off-campus fellows who work in the same building as the Residence Life Office, and they can help people foster a community of living off campus based on their neighborhood. They'll introduce others if you choose not to live in res in your first year.
Yeah, which is also fun.
Great, thanks you guys. So I think now we're going to see if we have any questions that have come in. You guys stay here, stay here.
Okay.
They're getting a little shy, I think. Never. So just want to see, we have a few questions that have come in that I think all about campus life, living in Montreal. So if you have any, please feel free to answer. One that we have here is, do I need to know French, or how much French do I need to know to live in Montreal? I think that's a great question. Did you guys speak any French before you came here?
Yeah.
Growing up in Canada, I had to take French class all throughout school, but my French was never conversational, and that wasn't really an issue. McGill's an English school in the heart of an urban city, so everyone's perfectly bilingual who's from here, and lots of students only speak English, and it's not a problem because it's an English school.
Yeah. How did you find it as an American coming here?
Yeah, well, foreign language was like the only thing I liked to do in high school, so French was something that I'd studied in high school, and I found it to be an awesome learning experience. There are a lot of people who come here and can go 4 years only speaking English, which is, I think, unfortunate because it's a perfect place to practice your French. So now that we're living off campus and, you know, we're doing our grocery shopping and stuff like adults, well, you know, going to the market and using your French is so much better than you know, staying in the Anglophone bubble that can be the McGill campus sometimes. So if you want to come here and learn French, it's a really good opportunity to do so.
Definitely. Great recommendation. I think it is a missed opportunity if you don't take advantage of it, but we certainly do see students that come here and live in an English bubble for 4 years and graduate just having a handful of phrases, and that's fine, but certainly you're going to hear not just French and English on our campus, but many others, so we hope you'll take advantage of that opportunity. Now, what about weather? We do have some people that ask about winter, and probably saw some of the pictures maybe in our presentation so far. Yes, we do get that white stuff that falls from the sky. What do you guys think about winter?
You get used to it. Montreal has a cool. You learn how to do things in the wintertime, and Montreal has a really good underground network. So if you want to get from here to any other place in the city, well, not any other place, but in the downtown, you can access a lot of it underground. And our metro system is really good as well. So you don't have to spend too much time above ground, but when you are above ground, just layer up. You'll get used to it. You'll grow some thick skin, I think.
Yeah, not just Montreal. McGill also has a tunnel system. Not all the buildings are connected, but many of them are, so it's very easy to enter one end of campus and get all the way to another end without going outside. In the Montreal community, they embrace the cold. There are many festivals going on in the winter. People go outside. You wear a jacket. Everyone.
A jacket, yes.
Yeah.
We do have actually a winter jacket program that is put together by our Dean of Students office, and it's an opportunity, especially for international students who probably haven't lived through winter yet, where you can go and pick up a good winter coat that is donated to the students of McGill, certainly for those who haven't been able to do that. But you know, you're going to quickly make some local friends who have can help you to go buy one. And the key is, you know, if you dress for it, you're going to find there's a lot of fun in the winter. We have a skating rink right on our campus for ice skating, and then of course behind us on Mount Royal we have tobogganing trails, that's sledding, hiking, cross-country skiing, you name it. So we don't let the winter stop us here, and definitely learn to embrace it. We have another question, which you mentioned the metro. So how do students get around? That's a great question. Being in a big city, you definitely don't want a car, right?
No. I, on the side of the metros for a while, they said that the STM, the Système de Transport de Montréal, was ranked first in North America, I think, for public transit. So getting around the city is super easy in the winter. All the metro trains are on time because it's a completely underground system. But on top of that, in the summer, which we are kind of in now. There's the Bixie system, so it's a rent a bike system. You can take out a bike, go to anywhere else in the city, and then put it back in a Bixie dock. So it's really easy to get around the city, and even walking is really easy too.
Good. Great. So let's see if there's any other questions. Uh, what do students do in the summer?
The summer at McGill is actually 4 months long because we finish exams at the end of April and then we don't start school again until the beginning of September. So it can be a great opportunity to take advantage of many different things. Lots of people might choose to do research. They can stay in Montreal and do research at McGill. They can go home or they can do research with a partner institution. They can do internships. A lot of students, there are internship offices at McGill. I know the arts internship office posts many different opportunities in January that you can apply for the summer. People might choose to work over the summer, either in Montreal, elsewhere, at home. It's a great chance to make some money. Or they might choose to just go home, enjoy themselves, travel. The summer's a great time to do whatever you want because you have a lot of time to do so.
Take a break, right?
Yeah.
Good. So Para just gave us a great segue into our next section to talk about academics and some of the learning that happens on our campus. Certainly, you're probably expecting to spend some time in lecture halls, and that's obviously the norm for many of our classes. You're going to find yourself in quite a few different lecture, lab, seminar, tutorial type settings, depending on what year you're in and what program you're studying. But certainly you're going to see that there's quite a range of class sizes also at McGill. We get that question a lot, and I really can't tell you an exact average because it really depends on your program. So you will see that some classes are larger. Certainly first year students in some of our larger programs may have classes as large as 600 students. Did you guys experience that?
I did. In some first year science courses, they were very large, but as I got older throughout my degree, the classes got much smaller until they were intimate class settings in my fourth year to the point that my professors knew my name.
Good. And in geography, how do you find it?
Yeah, same thing. Your first year courses, usually bigger lecture halls, which is cool because it gives you the initiative to take control of your studies and talk to the professor. Professors really like talking to people, so if you go into their office hours and even just ask them about their research or a question I remember I went into a professor a few weeks ago. I went to their office and just said, what do I want to do with my life? And we just talked out some options. So they're always open to talk to students if you are in a bigger lecture hall, but my first year I had a really unique situation because I took a lot of foreign language courses, and those classes can range from 15 to 25 people, and so if you're worried about having a large class size, then either a first year seminar or a foreign language class is guaranteed to have a lower number, I'd say.
Also, though, it should be pointed out that even if your class is 600 people, take first year biology, for example, you'll still have a lab, which will be about 20 people. And then there's a TA who runs the lab, and the TA knows your name. If you're in arts, a poli-sci class, a math class, they'll all have tutorials where they'll have TAs, and you can approach the TA and ask questions in a smaller, informal setting. So don't be intimidated by a large class size because there are always many different ways to talk to someone. You can always go to the professor or the TA and you can establish a connection if that's what you want.
Yeah. Great advice. As you'll see, we actually only have one class on campus that is as large as 600, but most of them are going to be a lot smaller. But whenever there is a large class, the lecture is always given by the professor, and there will always be a 1 hour either lab, seminar, or tutorial associated with that class that you'll register for as well. So that's definitely the way the traditional learning happens at McGill, but I think some of the most exciting opportunities are the non-traditional ones, and that would be our research opportunities, internships, which we already mentioned briefly, exchange programs, and field studies. So all of these opportunities can happen for students in all faculties. It's important to know that no matter what you study at McGill, you can take advantage of these. Many of these opportunities will also take you away from McGill and away from Canada and maybe going overseas to do some of these things. So know that these are things open to all students, and your faculty has advisors that's going to be there to help you set it up. Kara did a field study. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
I did. McGill has partnerships with institutions all over the world, and so they offer a couple different field studies. Some are over the summer, some are during the semesters. I went on a field study semester from January through May last year to Panama, where McGill has a partnership with the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institution. I study environment, so it was essentially learning how to do research. So we did an environmental biology class where we would go into the rainforest and identify species. We learned about environmental history of Latin America, where a McGill professor would take us to ancient ruins or into an indigenous community, and we would learn about their histories and need to write about it. We also did an environmental management course where we went around, we saw like a coffee plantation, a banana plantation, we saw how different industries were changing the environment. But also, every student on my field study program, which was 30 students, did a research project with a partner institution through an internship that McGill organized. So it was a great opportunity for me to do an internship during the school year and a research project. I got to spend 4 months in Panama. I picked up a lot of Spanish, and I got credit towards my major for the entire thing. And because it wasn't an exchange with another institution, those credits went to my GPA because it was McGill professors teaching me just outside the classroom. There are also field studies in Barbados, in East Africa, and around Quebec, northern Quebec, and in the Arctic.
Yeah.
There are many different opportunities.
So if Montreal's not cold enough, we will send you somewhere colder. And so in a lot of different ways, we know for many of you coming to McGill technically will be a study abroad experience, but we want to challenge you even more and send you further if you'd like to do that. And whether it's through our exchange programs, which are in 30 countries, or through internships or research or field study, there's many ways that you can do that. So now I want to talk exactly a little more about the specific programs that you can study at McGill. We do have over 300 programs to choose from. So I'm not going to get talking in detail about all 300 for you right now. But here you'll see on the screen the main faculties that you can choose when you choose to apply. Within each of these faculties, there are many different majors. And if you go to our website after this webcast, you'll be able to see on our page we have two links, one to programs and one is an actual documents link, which shows you the full listing of all of our programs. So I do encourage you to go and see that full listing, because seeing this short list here doesn't accurately reflect all the programs that we have. And as an example, Per is an environment major, and he's done that within our Faculty of Arts and Science program, but you can also study the environment under the Agricultural and Environmental Sciences faculty, in the arts faculty, or strictly as a science degree as well. The same happens with computer science and mathematics. So realize that if you want to study psychology, don't just go look under arts. You're probably going to find it under science also. So do check out that full listing with all 300 programs. You don't have to choose exactly your major at the time of the application. Depending on the area you want to study, we may just ask you to pick the faculty and know that if you're offered admission to that faculty, you can then choose any of the majors in that faculty when it comes time to declare your major. Most students will declare their major at the end of their first year. Now you will see that we do not have direct admission into dentistry, law, medicine. And then for physical and occupational therapy and social work, it's limited direct entry for some select international-based high school programs. So for most of you, you would be selecting your program choices from agricultural, environmental sciences, arts, education, engineering, management, music, nursing, or science. Now, when you do fill out our application for admission, you're going to see that you actually have two program choices. And this is not going to be a first choice, second choice situation. We are going to review both of your program choices equally, and we will give you admission decisions on both. Hopefully you get offers of admission to both of those choices, and then at that point you'll have to choose which one you'd like to enroll in when you decide to accept your offer of admission. So I want to talk a little more about the admission process and how does that actually work. I know there's a lot of stress and questions always in this area, so I want to share with you some of the key resources and tools to use at McGill. And the first is our mcgill.ca/applying/requirements website. We have an excellent applying search tool here, which I highly recommend this be the first place you go when you're looking at admissions information. When you get to this page, you're going to see that you're going to self-identify by a series of questions with drop-down menus to identify yourself as a high school student, let's say, studying a U.S. high school diploma in the U.S., and then you pick the program you want to study, and then the page will populate all the admission requirements, the deadline, what documents you need to submit, and when those need to be submitted. So this will be extremely helpful for you and really simplify the process. You'll probably want to go through the search tool many times looking at different programs. Obviously, you're probably going to pick the two program choices. So you can compare that way as well. Now, in general, what we're looking at when it comes time for making admission decisions is a few key things. First of all, admission is based on the high school diploma that you are currently completing and not your nationality. So if you happen to be Canadian studying outside of Canada, that's great, but your admission process is going to be based on the U.S. high school diploma if that's what you're studying. So when you use our apply and search tool, be sure to search by a type of school and not your location. And then really what we're looking at is admission is based on your academic results and your test scores. We are going to look for minimum grades in specific prerequisite courses for many of our programs, and we're going to look at your overall academic performance. We are not going to ask for you to send us any essays as part of the application. We don't need a list of your extracurricular activities. It's great that you do all of these things, but it is not going to factor into the admission decision for the majority of our programs. Reference letters also, or recommendation letters, are not a part of the admission process. So all we're going to ask for you to send us are your transcripts, your test scores, and then to complete our online application for admission. Now, there are a few exceptions to this, and that would be for the programs if you're applying to music, architecture, social work, and religious studies. Know that these programs have a different admission process. They may have a different application deadline and also require additional documents. So be sure and look directly through the apply and search tool. Again, that'll be your way to get all the information. And then the last thing that we'll take into consideration, if you are not an English speaker as a first language, or if you have, let's say if you haven't been studying in a country where English is considered an official language, we are going to ask you to supply proof of English proficiency, and you can get those details as well as far as minimum requirements through the Applying Search tool. Now I have a second website here, which is the Applying Standards website. This is going to give you some great information to help you see approximately what range of grades we're looking at for the different programs. Admission to McGill is competitive, and the majority of our programs we have limited space. So we're going to be making offers of admission to the strongest academic students. And what this website will show you are what the admission minimum standards were in the past years for all of our different programs. So you have to keep in mind when you look at these cutoffs that these are not necessarily the cutoffs that are going to be used this year or next year, but they'll give you an idea for the last students offered admission last year, what their grades were. So I'll show you what this looks like. If you click on the Applying/Standards website, you're going to be taken to a page that looks like this. And as I mentioned, you select the type of high school diploma program you're completing. So if we use U.S. high school as the example, you're going to be taken to a page that has a long chart like this. We're just showing you a few examples here. If you wanted to apply to arts, you just look along in the middle column. It'll tell you the minimum grades that were required last year and the minimum test scores, and then we'll also indicate minimum grades for the prerequisite and what those prerequisite courses are in the right-hand column. So it's a lot of information to absorb right now, definitely something you want to go and look at afterwards. But know that these tools are there to help you to get a good idea that these grades and scores can change from year to year. But we want to give you a little bit of an idea of the range to be striving for, and our best advice for you is always to shoot for higher than what you see on this table, because we do see for many programs that they can go up from one year to the next. So a little bit about the timing and the logistics of the application process. The deadline depends again on where it is you are studying. So for international students, anybody studying in high schools outside of Canada, your deadline will be January 15th. If you are applying from any schools in Canada, your deadline varies depending on where you are. So you have to check out, again, our Applying Search tool. It'll either be February 1st or March 1st. And what you need to do by that application deadline is submit your application, of course. It's a $100 fee. You're going to have the two program choices. Remember to indicate on the application if you'd like to be considered for student housing. As you heard, we do guarantee on-campus housing for new students, so you want to make sure to indicate that. And then you'll be able to track your application status online on Minerva, which is where you find all the application information. If you would like to apply for our major entrance scholarship, that deadline will be 1 week after the deadline for the application for admission. and you also would have to submit at that time recommendation letters and essays. And then we have a second deadline, which is your document submission. So the deadline for the application is really just that your application is submitted by then, but you have until March 15th if you're an international student, or until April or May if you're from Canada, to submit your school transcripts and your test scores. Now, we do have various ways that you can submit these documents. For most students who are applying from outside of Canada, you're going to upload your transcripts. So whatever type of report card or transcript you get from your school, that's all we need to make the admission decision. We're going to ask you to upload that, and we want to have at least your mid-year grades from your senior year to do that. And for students in Canada, there's various ways that you can send them electronically or self-report your grades online. For your test scores, for submitting SATs or ACTs for the Americans, or if you're submitting proof of English proficiency results, those need to be sent to us directly from the testing board. Now, keep in mind, as I mentioned, music, religious studies, architecture do have some different deadlines and requirements, so make sure to submit portfolio, audition tapes, reference letters, personal statements as required by those programs. And again, don't forget this website, mcgill.ca/applying/requirements. This is your very handy application search tool. So what is it going to cost? This chart gives you an idea of what the fees were this year. We are a publicly funded university, so we do have a range of fees. And what you'll see here at the top are the international tuition fees for the 2013-2014 academic year. You're going to see that there is a range here because it depends on what your program is. If you go through the links on our page here on College Week Live, you can get a link directly to our student accounts page, which will show you the exact fees for the program that you would like to study. Then you're going to see all the associated fees, the estimated costs of lodging and food, and then do note at the bottom we included if anybody happens to be a resident of Canada or a resident of Quebec, the fees for them. Now, we do have different kinds of financial aid and scholarships that all students are eligible to apply for. There's basically need-based aid, which is the aid that is based on your level of need. And then there's merit aid, which would be scholarships, which is something that you have earned for something you have done. So bursaries are the need-based aid, which is like a grant. That's free money. That's something that we will assess you and look at your financial background to determine your level of need. And then for scholarships, we have 2 entrance scholarships. And one you will be considered for automatically upon admission to McGill. So the basic entrance scholarship, there's nothing extra you have to do. You just submit your application for admission, and we will look at your academic performance in grades 11 and 12, and look at your test scores if you've submitted those, and that will be part of the decision for the basic entrance scholarship. For the renewable scholarship, that's our major entrance scholarship. This is looking at both your academic performance and the things you've been doing outside of the classroom. And that's where we're going to ask for some supporting documents. So the website here, student aid/scholarships, is where you're going to find all the details on those 2 scholarship programs. So we're going to stop here and see what questions have come in, and I'm going to invite Per and Evan to come back on screen and join me and see what questions we can answer for you. I know we've covered a lot of information. I hope it's inspired you to think of a few things, and we'll see what questions we have got. Let's see. So there's someone here that's asked about how do I go about getting an internship? Now, I know you guys didn't do internships, but do you have friends that have done them?
I have a few.
Okay. I've never done before, yeah.
Yeah, I did one through my field study, so McGill really took the reins and set me up there, and so that was great because through the field study I was able to intern with the Smithsonian Institute, which is like one of, if not the top-ranked research institutes in the world. But there are also internship offices with, I believe, each department, if not many departments. The arts internship office is huge in finding internships for many students. You apply through McGill and then they can set you up and they'll take care of many things. Of course, you often need to pay for your own transportation and housing. Internships are often unpaid, but they can be a great experience in another country, another place, or somewhere you are familiar with to get hands-on experience in your field or with research. So internships are a great thing that McGill can really help set you up with.
Yeah, that's some great advice. And all faculties will have services there to support students to help them find an internship. Some students actually find their own through their own network. Maybe it's through their own network in conversation with upperclassmen or with grad students, or of course getting to know their professors. But we do have many different resources there for you. And in some cases, there's even funding that you can apply for to help you to pay for the transportation costs or your accommodations if you are doing that internship away from McGill or away from home. Similar to research opportunities, actually, many of them have funding that you can apply for as well. So not only can you get credit and have it applied towards your degree and obviously have a wonderful experience, but know that we can help to make it an affordable one as well. And let's see. Do you use weighted GPA? So that's a great question for many American students, especially. I know that your school will calculate a weighted GPA. And when we look at a transcript, we are going to recalculate any average or GPA, and we are not going to use weighted grades. Many students, most students, I should say, coming to McGill are doing some kind of advanced level coursework, but we are going to recalculate GPA. We're going to remove any non-academic type of classes out of that calculation and really just look at the academic courses in grades 10, 11, and 12 for that GPA. Can I do a minor, or maybe you're thinking of a double major? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the arts faculty you're required to do a major and a minor. So that gives you an opportunity to explore something that you won't just kind of waste away with elective credit. So you can put that to good use. Other faculties, a little more difficult to do a minor, like if you're in engineering with a really rigorous program and a larger amount of credits you need to fulfill. But with most science and art sci students and art students, pretty much for the most part, do
I think
minors.
almost
Yeah.
every student I ever talked to has at least a major and one minor, in some cases two minors, but it is definitely something that's available to all students in all faculties. Engineering is a great example. Like most schools, you have a pretty prescribed set of course requirements you have to achieve, but even there you'll see, if you look at the programs list we have on our website, you'll see all the minors available to engineering students as well. And your minor doesn't have to be in your faculty. Actually, are you doing a minor out of your faculty?
I'm in the Faculty of Arts and Science. So in most faculties, if you're in arts, you can do a major in arts, and then if you choose, you can do a minor in science, or vice versa. But some students might choose to do a double major, and so if you're in arts, then both of those majors need to be in the Faculty of Arts, and if you're in science, then those would need to be two science majors, like biology and physics. But if you feel that you want to do a double major, one in arts and one in science, then the arts and science program could be really good for you. If you specifically want to major in both biology and political science, then that's what the arts and science faculty offers you. Also, if you choose to do a major in arts and two minors in science, or vice versa, then it can be a great program. It should be noted though that it requires you to be a bit more focused, because it's a bigger commitment than simply doing arts or science. Arts and science isn't just doing everything. It's much more specific and a bigger course load. But if you're interested in both of those things, then it can be a great program.
It's a good option. I think the key thing here to know is that there's options, and no matter what your major is and what faculty is your home faculty, know that you can take classes from other areas. It doesn't even have to be a minor. If you just want to take, if you're a science student and you want to do a couple French classes, of course you can do that. It doesn't have to be that you're doing a French minor. Or if you just wanted, you're a management student that wants to take a couple biology classes, that will be an option for you as well. Let's see what other questions. Do you take AP classes? And I'm guessing here probably what you want to know is, do we give advanced standing credit? And the answer is yes. So in this case, you asked about advanced placement, but we will give advanced standing credit for students from international baccalaureate, high school diplomas, for students in French bac programs, A levels. There's many different type of advanced standing high school curriculum programs. And you will see on the applying website, you can get the exact details about how those credits transfer in. But in general, yes, we will review you for advanced standing. Of course, you need to remember to send us your test results for those. And the maximum advanced standing credit you can get is 30 credits, which is the equivalent to 1 year of study. And can I change programs after I've been admitted? So I know that that kind of depends on which program you want to change from. So there's a few different ways that can happen. And basically, when you're offered admission to McGill, as I mentioned, you can apply to 2 programs, and you might get admission offers for 2 programs, but you will need to choose which one you want to enroll in. And you need to stay in that program for 1 year. At the end of that first year, you can apply to change faculties if that's what you're looking for. If you're just wanting to change your major, that's something pretty easy to do. Actually, I think, Evan, you started in one major and maybe changed your mind.
Yeah, I've switched 4 times. I started off as a linguistics major. At the end of the first year, decided to declare as a Spanish major. Over the summer, really liked urban studies, and then once I was which is in the geography department, and then once I was in urban studies, I decided like the geography track better than the urban studies track. So it's really easy to do. You just need to click a button and then you change majors.
Exactly. So that's a perfect example of an art student who probably came in liking a few different areas and not really sure. So there's definitely, when it's within your own faculty, it's very easy to change your major. And to add or remove minors, as the case may be, just simply go into Minerva and make that change. If you want to change faculties, that's where it can be a little more difficult and really depends on the student and on the year. And it really comes down to, is there going to be space in the program? And are you going to be one of the students that could offer that space? So our best advice to you is to always maintain a great GPA in that first year. That will always give you some of the best chances for consideration of changing programs. But we can't guarantee 100% that you're going to be able to make that change at the end of your first year. So that should be something you definitely would factor in to your decision on where you're going to enroll. If you are not offered admission into the program that you really want at McGill, but you've been offered it somewhere else, then you may or may not be able to get that at the end of your first year with us. Okay, any last questions here? I think those are the rest that are coming in. Okay, well, if you do think of any more questions after you watch this webcast, whether you're watching it live or recorded, do feel free to email us at servicepoint@mcgill.ca. And I would just like to say thanks to our wonderful students who joined us for this webcast, and we hope that we'll get to see you guys on campus one day soon. Thanks, and have a great evening.